Welcome to Democratic Television, a program of the Santa Clara County Democratic Party that brings insights, perspectives, and attitudes of our always thoughtful guests. Today we're lucky enough to be joined by Reverend Jethroe Moore, a longtime community activist. Jeff, thank you for being on Democratic Television.
No, thank you, Steve, for having me on television. I really appreciate it.
Before we start talking about some of your activities, I know you're a minister. You're the president of the San Jose Silicon Valley NAACP. I'd like to get to know you a little bit more as a person. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up? What were your favorite classes in school?
Well, I was born in Norfolk, Virginia, at Portsmouth Naval Hospital. I'm a service brat.
Oh.
I think my father brought us out here in '67, '68, and then upon his retirement, we came back in '73 to make Northern California our home.
Well, welcome.
Well, been
I
here
say
since
welcome.
73.
It's a long time you've been here.
Been a long time. I grew up here, so
Yeah.
I put a foundation down here after traveling with my father for many years, the continent of the United States, Japan, Hawaii. It was just great to finally find a place we could settle down and call home.
Not a bad place.
No, it was a good place. Back then it was stop signs, apple trees, and orchards, and we used to walk, catch the bus for a dime, and so I really have been able to put my roots down here.
So you went to local schools, local college?
Local college, local high school. I'm a graduate of Silver Creek High School.
Oh.
I'm actually in the Eastside Union
Yeah.
High School District Hall of Fame,
Oh.
which I was very proud of that accomplishment, to join my brother in that. And I went to college. I first went to Loney College up in Fremont, in which I tried to play football. Loney College at that time was in the Guinness Book of World Record for most consecutive losing seasons.
Uh-oh.
So we went there and won Northern California Small College Championship. And
So you broke that
we stopped
record.
that trend. The team,
All right.
the team stopped that trend.
All right.
And then I went on to San Jose State, and ended up getting a degree in Bible and Theology, Management and Ethics from San Jose Christian College.
Oh, okay. And during that time you had worked your way through school and everything, so you were a man with a very full plate even as a young man.
Even as a young man, I was multitask. I was always involved in many things. From a young age, I remember being in Boy Scouts, playing football, and in band all at the same time. And so, for my lifestyle, it always has been to be involved in many things and do things in the community that affect the community for change.
So I guess doing that, working and going to school, gave you a real sense of what it was like to be a working person and try to get by and manage your time, make money, and pay your bills.
Yeah, and to live life and not have life live you. That means take control of what you want to do and participate where you want to participate. If you see something that you do not like and want to change, you need to get involved in it. So I've always believed in being involved in my community.
Do you have a history of that in your family? I know you have a brother that was on a school board. And
well, back then, everyone knows my brother Rodney, and Rodney was doing it, and I was behind the scene. I was working, and I was involved in small group things. I was involved through my fraternity and doing things in the community, from the origination of the Freedom Train, working security on that and doing various aspects of that, and just supporting my brother. He was out in front, and so we were promoting parties then. We did a lot of parties then. We had a lot of clubs around here. We were promoting different events. And so I'm chasing girls, to be honest. So that's where a lot of my time was spent.
I understand, and I appreciate that. The Freedom Train, especially from San Jose to San Francisco, celebrating Martin Luther King's birthday, I think is the longest continuous freedom train
in San Jose, and that where I originally ran into one of my big controversies as I came into office here at NAACP. I understood what the Freedom Train meant, and I still understand what it means, and I support the concept of the Freedom Train. But during that time period, there were some things that we did not particularly agree upon, and so it was a position that we took as the NAACP that was not popular, but that's so be it life. We must stand for something or fall for anything.
Well, and I think it helps spread the word, spread the awareness, and I'm sure you'd say that we really have to understand where we've come from.
We have to understand, appreciate, and know. If we do not know our past, we're doomed to repeat it. And we must, as people of color, take control of what our goals and aspirations are and have something to do with it, not just sit back and do nothing.
So your calling right now is as of a minister.
Yeah, I got a call for ministry when I was floundering in school, I guess. I was working at San Jose State Mercury News Spartan Daily as the business manager for the school paper.
Oh,
And wasn't feeling everything I thought I wanted in life. And about that time, I got a calling from God, and I rededicated my life back to Him. So when you see the transition over to San Jose City College to get a more theological background, and I gave my life back to Christ. And since that time, I tell everyone I've really been around the world. I've been on four mission trips over to Kenya, Amsterdam, and England, preaching and teaching the gospel of Jesus Christ.
now what do you do when you travel like that and you go to continents that you haven't been to before? What is expected of you, and are you working with others?
Well, we joined the church in Ridgeway's Baptist Church in Nairobi, and we went out to Bungoma, and we did a ministry out there, a dentistry ministry. There were dentists out there who actually did the work, and I got to teach the people about the gospel of Jesus Christ, and also got to participate in river baptisms, which is historically hasn't been done in this part of California for years, to my knowledge, and just actually getting into a river and doing baptism, where there were hundreds of people who were standing on the sides, and we just kept baptizing one after another. It was such a real glorious event.
A real transformative event
It
for
was
folks. going
well,
through.
just being in Africa for anyone who is African descent, to go back to where the continent which our founders come from, our people come from. It was a special homegoing celebration, ceremony, just loving life. It's a beautiful continent. It's more beautiful than what we've been taught. If you ever get a chance to tell everyone, always go to Africa. It's a beautiful place to see.
So what are some of the things that you do now? What does your ministry consist of?
Well, my ministry consists of the NAACP currently.
Well, we'll come to that, too.
Okay, but right now my ministry consists, we have I'm a church planner, church starter with Southern Baptists. We have a church plant over at Oak Grove High School, and there's about 20 of us who meet there regularly on a Sunday. Right now we do one ministry where we were feeding the people at St. James Park, but we ran into so much complication with going out to St. James Park. And now we're looking for other ways to support the community, and that's with food baskets and socks ministries that we do.
Very busy.
Yeah, I guess I get that from my mother and my father, who always kept us very busy as kids, and I don't know if that was to keep us from some things that would distract us, but we were taught at a very young point in our lives that we would go into college. That was the expectation that my father put into us. We didn't have a choice in that. It was an expectation that was given to us. My first time going to a college was at Norfolk State when I was on a college campus, and I have visited since the 7th grade various historical black colleges, and the original plan I was supposed to go to Grambling until we came out here, and then those plans changed. But I believe in supporting our community and being involved in your local community. Everyone has should have a sense of duty, a sense of ownership, a sense of responsibility to work in their community in which they live, regardless of where that community is or the status of that community. If more people would take active roles in that community, and let's just say low-income communities, we'd have less issues in those communities if people would engage themselves in that community.
What do what do community leaders need to do to try to inspire folks to get up and to join? People are so busy. They're doing so many different things. They're working a couple of jobs. They're overwhelmed with financial pressures. How do you speak clearly to someone to motivate them for that? Because I know you are an inspiring leader.
Well, thank you, but I think that everyone should just you have an hour, you have 2 hours on Saturday. You have time during the week to stop something that you're doing and just get together. One of my coworkers was telling me that they saw gang signs on one of their streets, one of their corners. And what should you do? I said, well, you go to each neighbor and knock on the door and talk to the neighbor about what you have seen and how you, if it's just the two of you start off, each one of you reach to the neighbor next door to you or across the street, you then extend a hand. And what is so beautiful about this part of Northern California is the diversity. And if we really just stop being afraid or sense of fear from someone who doesn't look like you, you will find that the majority of all of us have the staple food of chicken in our diet. If not, you have rice. America has this saying that we steak and potatoes, but I don't think we can afford steak no more. So most of us have chicken as the staple food. sit down and eat with them one time. It's the 4th of July, if it's a Vietnamese Tet holiday, if it's a holiday for a Vietnamese, go across and understand what they're celebrating. And you'll understand and get to understand them as a people. If they're Latinos, go across and understand what Cinco de Mayo and celebrate Cinco de Mayo with them. And you'll understand that, hey, they love each other like you love your family. And they want the best for their family like you want their best. And we need to join hands together and learn that no one is your enemy unless you make them that enemy.
Now, I've heard you speak before, and you are a champion about the importance of family and folks stepping up to play their roles, the father, the mother, the kids, everybody. Tell us a little bit about that. It sounds like your parents were great people, and that, something that stuck with you.
Well, I don't know where to start, but I'll start with my mother maybe, because mothers have a nurturing effect on us that long. Well, boys always love their mothers, I guess you'll say, and I love my mother, and my mother did not graduate from high school originally, but we watched her go back and get her college diploma. And from
wow.
So she went back and she got it, and she did everything she could to raise us and give us everything we could to be kids. And my father was an outstanding. He was very smart. He was a YNC, a Yeoman First Class Chief in the Navy on nuclear submarines. So we got to travel because the subs were always moving. And they always told us to love ourselves. And so one thing, I have 2 beautiful boys that were given to me by my wife and by God, but my wife, Audrey, thank God for her, and she's really helped me keep my bearings. But I have Josiah and I have Jay-Z, and both of them have my initials, J. Moore, so that both of them are treated equally and loved just as much. And what I do to them every day is I tell them, I love you. And who needs you? And they say, Daddy. Who wants you? Says, Daddy. So I instill into them the same thing my parents instilled into them, that no matter what goes on in my life, I will be there for you. No matter what you do, just tell me the truth and I'll stand there with you. And I know how to defend you and how to stick up for you. So it's important right now, I don't care how much money you make. If your kids don't know that you love them, if they're not know that they're needed by their parents, the kids will go astray. And so I work with a lot of at-risk kids in Eastside Union High School District. And most of the time, the kids that have issues is a lack of love that I feel that they have, a lack of nurturing from home. And that's what my parents were very successful in giving in all of us.
Well, I know that you were given the award for building peaceful families as a top community dad, so I can see why. We're going to take a little break right now. Okay. When we come back, I'd like to talk to you about the NAACP and all the other issues that are out there.
Please. All right, thank you.
We'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Margaret Abe Koga, and I'm a council member with the City of Mountain View. I'm sitting here today at KMBT in the studio. We just finished taping a segment of Democratic TV, and I wanted to talk with you about how you can get involved with the Democratic Party. When I was looking for a way to make a difference right after college, the Democratic Party was where I went to. And from there, I got involved with different groups and actually ended up starting a club myself called the Silicon Valley Asian Pacific American Democratic Club. And we've worked hard to try to get more people involved in the party, in the political process, helping to get good people elected to local government and in other political offices. And so it's a great place to go to if you're looking to get involved. So please call us if you want to help out in any way at 408-445-9500. or visit our website at www.sccdp.org. Thank you.
Welcome back to Democratic Television and our guest, Reverend Jethroe Moore, the president of the San Jose Silicon Valley NAACP. Jeff, you've been in this position a while now. But you've been with the NAACP for a long time. What's it like? What are your responsibilities? What is the NAACP up to?
Well, when you say a long time, actually, I joined the NAACP a year out of high school in 1978. I've been a member since then, and then I became more active on the executive committee. NAACP was founded in 1909 in New York. And one thing about it is the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, they had the insight. At that time, African Americans might have been called the colored people, but it came from the Niagara movement, which was W. Du Bois. But when we understand that, they still had some insight to say colored people, meaning all people of color. And so it's funny, sometimes people say, well, how does that affect? I say, well, white people also are color. Just let them get mad, they turn red, they get cold, they turn blue. So everybody has colors in them, right? So that's one thing, but all people of color. And so they had the insight to find us at this time and point in America today. That includes our Latino brothers, our Asian brothers. That includes American citizenry and the mistreatment or maltreatment of anybody. I will step up, or this local unit will step up and try our best to get involved to help.
So your outreach isn't just to African Americans. That's a major point of yours. Are you out there then trying to represent and bring into the organization Latinos, Asians, Native Americans?
I can probably say on my board currently I have at least 2 Latinos. I have one gay, lesbian, straight person. I have tried to reach out to all aspects, and all aspects of people are invited. Native American, anyone are invited, because I'm a believer that we all have a form of hidden, might want to say, a bias or misunderstanding or a conception that we don't understand, that someone from that walk can help you see that, you're not paying attention to this. Sometimes we ignore things and we don't pay attention, not because we're being mean, but because we just don't understand it or don't see it from that way. Historically, haven't been taught or raised that way. I've been raised historically heterosexual male, so I don't fully understand everything that gay people might have a problem with, or and so I try to get someone close to me to help me understand. Well, Jeff, had you thought about it from this perspective? And that's important. I believe any politician or anybody involved in the political realm that does not take the time to listen to all the constituents, Indian, Native Americans, if you're not listening to those people, regardless disability, it doesn't make it. You need to have someone close to you to help you understand, to make sure that you're hearing it according to their perception or their feelings are taken in. And so I'm very sensitive to try to understand the mass people that I want to say that this organization represents under the NAACP headline.
So, frankly, we should all be members.
Everyone should be a member.
Yeah.
Everyone in this country should be a member for rights. America says freedom for all, equality and justice, the right to liberty and pursuit of happiness. And it did not say for one class of people. So this organization would not be for one class, but for all classes of people, to give them that right for liberty, to pursuit of happiness, and not let that be traded on by no one side of a segment of America.
Now you say class, and that brings up a recent event in our history, especially in the city of San Jose, which was the fight to raise the minimum wage. Mm-hmm. I know you took an active role, you and your organization, in helping with that. What was the motivation for that? A
decent living wage. I see if a person needs to make money in order to live in this valley. Families are working 2 jobs in order to pay to live here, and no one raising their kids. Again, no one's loving their kids because they're so busy trying to make a living. Jobs are cutting back time, they're cutting back overtime, and these parents are working hard to maintain a decent household for their kids can have a dream of going to college. I am extremely upset with the 120% rise in the cost of a college education. How can the modern person or an average person in this valley afford to go to college or step up to the next level? History of this country or this world says when you don't educate your people, the country falls behind. So if America really wants to be the #1 leading nation and stay in that status, we must educate the masses of people. We must make education affordable at whatever the cost. I could cut this budget and say this budget, just cut what we're going into these foreign wars and put it back at home and build our infrastructure would create jobs. All right, and so just close down. Frederick Douglass says, it's easier to build, to make better children than to fix a broken man. So when we put so much money into the penitentiary system instead of the education system, there's something wrong. We spend $50,000 a year to keep an inmate, but less than $7,000 a year to educate a person. If we would flip those and put it on education, we wouldn't have so many social problems that we have today. But we do not want to do that. And so that's where my heart and this organization right now, we're really trying to fight with education. I really want to take on East Side. That's where I work. And dealing with the 48900K, the suspension for willful defiance. We need to, what is willful defiance? It's all on the perception of someone. So there are areas that we need to work at, and we know those who don't educate, 9 out of 10 California inmates did not graduate from high school. Another majority of them are high foster kids. Again, no family there. Families get problems. So we must reinvest our capital back into our family structures in order to be successful as a country.
So in your role in the NAACP, you probably interact a lot with local elected officials, school board members and all that, bringing this perspective to them. How are you received?
Well, some received very greatly, graciously, and some aren't. It's sometimes interesting, and I'm not going to pick on any one party, but some parties I always argue with, you want to be fiscal responsible, then end the death penalty. All right, that's the first place to start. You want to be fiscal responsible, then why not have retainers? And that retainer that our county passed dealing with immigrants, now we want to take it away. Actually just said, unless the federal government guarantees they're going to pay for the ICE people to be here to take care of these inmates, we're not going to keep them. That's fiscal responsibility. All right, so but if we're not going to hold them accountable for that, then how do we be fiscal responsible as a community? So some officials have greeted me graciously, some of them don't like to see me come, so I'm happy both ways. If you don't like seeing me come, I need to come more often. I'm currently, Steve, and this is open plea to that party, they know that I'm sticking out a hand, trying to get them to understand, is I have a problem with you, you don't have any people of color. I have a problem with you, you don't have enough young people. There is a problem when one part of society has, for some reason, neglected another part. That's why I'm so happy to be here on Democratic television to see that you guys are reaching out to all aspects, and you currently have always reached out. So I challenge that other party to do the same reach out to the communities. Stop sitting on your laurels and stop saying you're the party of Lincoln when we're celebrating the 150th year of Emancipation Proclamation, and I have yet to see where that party has celebrated that at all. So I want to commend the Democratic Party on your continual efforts in reaching out. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
We're always looking for a few good people ourselves. I know your plate's pretty full, but we have a lot of people that I think the way you do. They're younger people, and they want to see greater diversity within the party. And I think that's our future, is we can get greater diversity, maybe be an organization like the NAACP.
This country must look to the future. If we don't look to the future, we're doomed to fail. We can't keep planning and saying we're not considering. This county has a great, rich diversity, and that's why I love to be here sometime, and sometimes you don't, because as a black man, it's 2.8% of the population.
Yeah.
We have our own struggles in this community, and yet we're some of the targeted ones when it's race. And that brings me up to my police issues, you know, and that's a real frightening thing. And when we're still almost 8% of those arrested on the city streets, 11.2% of our youth here in Mountain View, Santa Clara are arrested at 10 times the rate of a white kid.
So profiling.
So it has to be going on. And so we're really pushing, when you hear me pushing the San Jose Police as an example, wanted to take the policy off of recording their stops. We're asking you to record your stops. If you're stopping the people for legitimate reasons, there should be no problem. But if you're just stopping and for random reason, if you stop someone for a tail light, and now you want to ask him if he's a convicted felon, if he's done drugs, I said, that's not the reason you stopped him. Let's deal with why you stopped him. And if you stopped him for legitimate reasons, everything will fall into place. So I'm one of those who I want to hold everybody accountable, each county accountable for its treatment of people, of human beings. And if they're stopping white kids in record numbers, which they're not, then there should also be a problem with that as well. But when we look at our local juvenile hall, we look at our foster care numbers, African American and Latinos are double the population rate. We have disproportionality on both those ethnic groups, and one asks why. Why, when Asian Americans make up 30% of the population, only 2% of those in jail? How does that happen? But yet Latinos make up 33% of the population and are 62%. Are we targeting African Americans 2.5, but almost 12% of those that are in jail? Why are these numbers so great? When it's hard to find a black person at a local grocery store, how can the police find them so easily committing a crime?
Now, do you work with or have a relationship with the independent police auditor? And is that someone you're finding?
I would like to say Judge Dolores is a great lady. We have a symbolic relationship. She is, I believe, also a lifetime member before I came in. We have a friendly relationship, very cordial. I believe I can call on her if I needed to call on her. So I think we have a pretty good relationship. I would say yes, yes, I think so.
Okay. Now we have about 2 minutes left. I think people watching the show are going to say, how can I get hold of Pastor Moore? I'd like to learn more about the NAACP, how I can play a role. How can we share with people your contact info? What do you got?
Well, I believe the screen will put my contact, the
Okay.
website, San Jose Silicon Valley, NAACP, and you can go to contact us, and emails come straight to me. But we're looking for everyone. I'm looking for anyone who thinks there's something they can do to help this organization make this county a better place. Matter your ethnicity, your age, or your abilities. If you just have a willing spirit to make change in Santa Clara County, I ask you to join us to help us make change, to make Santa Clara County the leading city, the leading part of the county, and change. And I just wanted to close with San Jose State and San Jose. We need to really focus on building the legacy of the civil rights movement here in this county. As we know, the minimum wage is a highlight of a civil rights issue that this county, this city did, as well as Tom and John Carlos and what they did in '68. This is the birthplace in Northern California for the civil rights movement, and we need to honor that.
Well, thank you very much for being on Democratic Television. I'll be following up with my membership.
Oh, thank you very much. We look forward to it.
Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for watching Democratic Television. Give us a call at 408-445-9500 or visit our website, sccdp.org. We'll see you on the campaign trail, and please help make a difference.